Welcome to Free Range with Gail of Gaia. Today's guests, Tanaath and Drake Bailey. Tanaath is an incarnate member of the Silver Legion, an extra-dimensional army of light warriors fighting for the sovereignty of Earth. She is highly knowledgeable of alien races, higher dimensions, and the nature of creation. Drake Bailey is an original elemental, an incarnate that has been working with Tanaath since late 2010. Designated as Red, Drake is an interdimensional and multi-powerful being. Similar to the rest of us, he is still learning the full magnitude and scope of his abilities, going within self as well as far above the physical. He's filled a position of significance in the fight for our sovereignty on a physical, metaphysical, and galactic level. And now please join Gail of Gaia as she welcomes Drake and Tanaath to the program.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and you're going to love this one. Today I have with me Tanaath of the Silver Legion and Drake Bailey, who caused quite a stir on the last show, and we're going to clarify things and make it all better.
Stir.
So, who wants to go first?
Let me add a classic in this. All right.
Okay.
It goes toil, toil, toil and trouble, cauldron burn and cauldron bubble. I have Newton toil frog, make the witch's brew good and strong.
Okay.
That's Macbeth, and it fits right in with all the horse shit that's coming out that's bubbling over the edges of the cauldron on a certain program.
Oh yeah, as we get a little bit closer to the end of time, things should be getting very, very interesting. And like I tell people all along, don't panic, keep your pants on. Things are going to be okay.
That's a good one, Tom.
Now, I got to ask, does that mean my watch stops?
Tanaath?
So your watch? Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're coming to the end of time as we know it. Is that what you're saying, Tanaath?
Well, it's I've spoken before, I think, of the quantum collapse.
Oh boy!
Basically,
that sounds big.
What we're used to now, what's normal to us, yeah, that's probably not going to remain. Things are going to change.
So, in other words, if I was writing that down in quantum mechanics on one of them little poster dealies where you got the two lines and numbers in between, that the thing's going to go. And we're going
pretty much. And the lovely thing about a quantum collapse is, no one knows when it's going to happen or what it's going to look like, but mathematically, it's going to happen.
Halloween surprise!
I can't wait.
Halloween would be nice.
I like change.
I won't put dates on anything, and I never have and never will, and everyone knows that by now.
That's very wise, because all it has ever done, from what I've seen, is gotten people in trouble because they tried to give a date and then it doesn't
I am
happen.
not in the business of making predictions. I am in the business of making the future.
All right, that's right. I just heard just recently by a man named Gene Decode that we need to write actually physically write down what we want for the future, and it will help it manifest. So
yeah, that is one thing that I do recommend, is sort of self-authoring. Mm-hmm. Write out yourself, write out what you wish to be, not just what you think you are now, but what you wish to be and what you wish to become. I just want to find out what you want to see.
I just want to be the baddest mother in the valley, so the politicians all run the other way when I come walking by.
Well, I'm kind of hoping some of them fade away. But on another note, we need to go into a little more explanation about Pleiadians, Pleiadian planets, what the problem is with Pleiadians as you both see it, or what's not the problem, however that goes, just for people to have more clarification, because I understand there's there's not just one planet and there's not just one Pleiadian race. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, when people say Pleiadians, typically what they're talking about are the Alcyons, the blonde ones. There are 7 stars in the Pleiades cluster and a cluster of hundreds. So potentially a couple hundred civilizations could lay claim to the moniker of Pleiadians. But typically when you're talking about Pleiadians on Earth, when people are talking about Pleiadians down here, they're talking about Billy Meyer's Alcyons, as headed up by Semyase and that horse crap. They're not nice people. I know a lot of people like to suck off the Pleiadians down here. New Agers like to say, oh, I'm a Pleiadian and you're a Pleiadian and we're all Pleiadians. No, you don't want to be these people. The Pleiadians who interacted with humans, the Alcyons, did so illegally. They sold us out. They offered us up to the highest bidder when they were supposed to help keep other groups from interfering here. They are not. Yeah.
Wow, that is some. By the way, this blonde hair is not natural, so put that right out there.
Hey,
right
look,
now.
there are a lot of groups that have yellow and blonde hair, and it's not a bad thing, right? But the Pleiadians, yeah, they're not good. And Semyase, who everybody likes to pretend is such a great thing. Well, number one, she's dead. So we don't really have too much to worry about with Semyase anymore. But number two, she was a real piece of work and not anywhere near as nice as she passed herself off with Billy Meyer and all them. All they had was a good PR campaign.
Uh-huh.
And they had some very, very high crimes that affect not only Earth, but the entire universe and actually threaten the entire multiverse. And let's just say there may be some answer for them.
That sounds sort of like who Kent Dunn might be related to. He says he's a Pleiadian.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Well, I've never spoken with Kent Dunn, and I don't know anything about Kent Dunn, so I can't comment on Kent Dunn.
Well, his daddy was a contactee and had some really righteous work that he did over the years. Kent Dunn stepped in and took his place, so to speak, or is trying to. He ain't even.
Let's be nice, Drake. Be nice.
I'm trying real hard. I got a whole bunch of
Used
things
to be
with
friends.
my mind. It just ain't, Anyway, I contacted the Pleiadians, and the ones that I contacted were pissed. He stole. Kent Dunn apparently stole a bunch of their technology, and they were not happy about that. Plus, he keeps saying he's related. And one of them in the background says, "I'll be damned, he ain't related to me," So I get responses like that. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him, and I won't comment on Kent Dunn because I don't like commenting on things and people I don't know anything about. So.
Well, he's trying to bury me in shit, and it ain't working too well.
Oh yeah, is he the guy who's claiming that you've been cloned? Because that's bullshit.
Yes.
That's what I am. I'm a clone. I'm cringing up. The only clone I've seen is Biden playing puppy dog, sniffing people's necks.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised.
He just can't control himself, can he?
Biden doesn't want to get. Yeah, he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get coronavirus because then he can't sniff children anymore.
Okay, Greg, you want to address that issue any further or any more? Do you have any more to say about it?
What's that? The Kent Dunn thing?
Yeah, I hate to use names.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that I'm kind of surprised that Muggsy allows all that horse shit to go on because she's got a information ET that should have told her that it was all BS. And I think that I can ask, but I think it probably did. And I'm surprised Muggsy still has the boy on the show. Just to be straight up.
She was off and sick for quite a while. I think she just recently came back on. So, but I've been getting a lot of feedback that's been rather negative, and I don't appreciate that very much. But you shouldn't. I asked for proof. I mean, how can you prove somebody's a clone?
Yeah, and I got one thing to say. if anyone out there thinks you got to threaten someone like Gail to get them to be silent, you ever considered that maybe you're the bad guy? I mean, the good guys don't usually have to threaten people into silence.
Oh my God.
People say
Tanaath.
things I don't like and I don't agree with all the time. I let them live. Why? Because the truth will speak for itself. It's louder than anything.
Thank you, Tanaath. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
And anyone else attempting to speak for the Silver Legion? Yeah, no.
No.
Yes, I did hear that too. They did try to speak for the Silver Legion and councils.
We don't take orders from anyone. Not them, no one.
Oops.
Alrighty then, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. I guess it would behoove us to let people know that there's, numerous planets that have Pleiadians, or that are, some are good, some are bad, whatever. But it's not just one planet. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of different inhabited planets in the Pleiades.
Mm-hmm.
Ones I've dealt with personally are the Mayans, who are members of the cult of the Black Sun.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're not nice. The children of the Black Sun are basically a cult, an ET cult that is attempting to take over the universe and enslave everyone. So yeah, not good. I know there'll be some people out there who are thinking, oh yeah, Black Sun, that's Hitler, that's great. Yeah, no, Hitler was not great. And the Black Sun is not something you want poking its finger in your life. That's bad mojo all around. Then there's most of them I don't have a beef with. The Dakota are decent people. The Aarons are decent people. Most of them are genuinely well-intentioned people who aren't causing too many problems, and as long as they stay that way, I'm fine with them. But when it comes to any group, I would say, always look at what they're saying, how they're treating you. If they're treating you like a subordinate, if they're treating you like you don't know shit and that you're not, smart, or like your little brother or little sister or whatever, that has to be shown the right way, yeah, kick them to the curb. You are their equal. They are not over you. They are not better than you simply because they're in a different dimension. They might have access to better information, but that does not entitle them to make you a subordinate of theirs. Ever.
Is that why ETs don't like being worshipped?
Say that again?
I said, is that why the majority of the good ETs don't like being worshipped?
That's exactly why. And anyone who is demanding worship or saying that they have authority over you, or saying that they represent some higher power over you, no, kick them to the curb. They don't.
Hey, just in time for Halloween, man. We can Grinch up out of the bushes and scare the whatever out of people.
Well, Samhain is the traditional end of the year for some neo-pagan groups.
Yeah. It's also the day that you get to talk to your dead ancestors and stuff
Right,
like that.
All Souls Day.
Yeah. All Hallows Wane.
Well, wasn't that also a date when there were a lot of satanic stuff going on?
Oh yeah,
Of
and
course.
this year is going to be interesting because we had the harvest moon at the beginning of October, and there's a full moon on Samhain, which means that there's likely to be. Well, I'm going to be busy squashing rituals, but yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh shit, we ain't letting any of that through.
I was kind of hoping to see some of the bad people fly by on brooms or something.
And get shot down. There might be some blue-green
There you
fireballs.
go.
Oh, wow. So I guess, what about
Yeah.
Atlas? Is that a Pleiadian planet? Somebody asked me about that. I didn't really know. Have you heard of that?
I haven't heard about that, but I'm not exactly like I don't know. There are something like 300 trillion stars in this galaxy alone. I am not going to play the who's who at the zoo game with people. Come on here.
Man.
You can't expect me to have comprehensive information of everybody who's out there. I know the
Well,
ones
sure.
I deal with directly, and that's usually I don't even know what they call themselves. Oftentimes I know what I call them, which is usually you sons of bitches, but
Well, you tell it like it is, right, Tanaath?
Bow down and worship me, you suckerfish.
So, what do
don't
you
need
think
them.
about the current status from a galactic standpoint, or universal, whichever you prefer, and also bring it down to geopolitical? First, I'll ask you first, Drake, and then your opinion on that too, Tanaath.
What do I really think is going on?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people that, a whole bunch of entities, I'm gonna say. I call everybody people. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of people that took off fast as they could in the opposite direction, trying to escape this wave that has been initiated. What the wave does, what the
There is
wave,
no escape.
I know. They don't understand that because as soon as you figure you got it figured out, it's coming from right here. Okay, so you jump in your spaceship, hit the afterburners, and go this way. Guess what? You're bumping along through space, and all of a sudden you see this thingy coming at you. Oops! Guess what? That's the wave. Now what are you going to do? Oops! Oh, I bet they got some interesting things going on in the bathroom on some of them ships. I'm trying to be nice, but the toilet keeps poking, going, ha, got you.
You're funny. Okay. What about the political scene on Earth?
Oh, good Lord. If you can figure out a way to mess it up, the Democrats will try it. Okay. They're Marxist handlers, some of whom are here, most of whom are outside of the United States, believe that they can use the initiation of a combination of things, such as prophecy, 3 days of darkness. Well, we've done past the 3 days of darkness about 20 times, and I still see just fine. So,
Yes.
the world's gonna end. We've had that crap going on since forever. Well, the thing about it is that they don't understand what the prophecy, I'm using this loosely, really says about it. It stipulates that it's them that are going to have the problems and not us, and we get to sit and watch the show. I suggest you get extra popcorn and kick back and open up the window and window screen and watch them. They're going to be running back and forth and trying to flap real hard and take off and all kinds. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, they said that the indictments were coming forward for Hillary.
Yeah, that's been going on too long.
They've been saying that so long. It's beginning to make me wonder about Barr.
Well, this is the question, and that's something that Trump's not happy with Barr about, according to the leakage of rumors and things of that nature. Go arrest Biden and son, and if Harris gets loud and mouthy, put her in the cell next to him for disturbing the peace of the world or whatever. I would suggest that if there are no prosecutions forthcoming, and I'm talking about real soon, within the next week, then we got a real pile of shit to deal with, and it's stinky.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I don't know. Have you noticed that the Democrats refuse to send out the extra help that's supposed to be feeding people and taking care of things? Pelosi gets on CNN and stipulates, "We represent them. We are feeding them." Oh boy, what a lying sack of.
Well, she has kept the stimulus checks from even coming, and people are people are way behind in everything, and it's so. And she's responsible, directly responsible.
And guess what? The Democrats are taking the heat from it. Joe Biden had a town hall the other night, but nobody showed up. Not a single solitary, not even the janitor. I guess he went in the bathroom.
Well, you know what? That's funny because Biden and Harris were here in Arizona just a day or two ago, and nobody showed up. Nobody.
But they're winning.
It may, yeah. He's leading Trump. How does that work?
It's the same way it did with Hillary. It's the same way it did with Hillary, only this one's worse. 10 times worse.
Yeah.
We'll see. Everybody
these assholes.
Go ahead.
These assholes would piss on us and tell us it's raining.
You're absolutely right. They would. And
Well, I shot the last one in his fire hose that tried to do that to me. Haven't had that problem since. It was one of them Tata 0078 secret agent men mothers.
I don't know. They have a tendency of disappearing when they come around here.
Well, they have a tendency to whiz, and this guy whizzes at least 2 different directions that I know of.
Well ventilated.
Yeah, exactly. You ventilate certain things, they pretty much get the idea that it's not a good idea to screw with that one. It's not only crazy, but it likes shooting people in places it don't want to be shot.
okay. What I want to ask you about another character. I don't know if you're aware of him. I always had issues. I just don't even like his name. People have been asking about Cobra.
Out of respect for Cobra, I'm not gonna mention too much here. All right. There are speculations about Cobra's true identity. I've seen some interesting ones, and some of them appear to be accurate. I will say this, he's working with the Alcyons, and I've already made my opinion about the Alcyons abundantly clear. Sorry, Cobra.
Thank you for that, Tanaath, because that is pretty much what I felt about anybody that gives their name, gives themselves a snake name, has me worried. But anyway.
Yeah, are we going to get G.I. Joe?
Going to get to what?
G.I. Joe.
Be nice.
When you call yourself after G.I. Joe's bad guy, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, he's okay. That was one, and then the other thing is that's come up in recent days is CERN is back at work trying to open up parallel worlds and
we know.
And so on.
If they actually manage to get that thing open, we got a barrel of surprises for them.
I understood that stuff was shorting out every time they flipped it on and tried to do something.
Yep. Let's just say, I almost hope they actually try to crack that thing open. We might have some fun.
Maybe it would just suck them right in, huh?
Oh, yeah. It ain't going to go the way they're planning.
Let's put it this way. Most men are very careful about their whatevers, and you don't want to have them hard boiled.
Yep.
I'm being nice as I can't know how to be, but I'm trying to be specific enough that everybody gets the message. And there's going to be some, what people don't realize. We do these shows, okay, fun and games. It's cool. We have a great time, but there are a shitload, and I mean that literally, a load that won't fit in the screen of agents that are taking notes fast as they can write. A lot of them record this shit and say, "Oh my God, we're screwed," or And what's funny is they take this crock of crap and run back to their bosses and say, "Boss, please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to go." Well, too late, dude.
I feel bad for whoever has to read my files. Like, honestly, I do.
I don't. I put a soul trap on them. They're going to find themselves in some kind of a infinity capsule. They're going to find themselves inside one of those, running as fast as they can on a Mobius strip.
Kind of like the hamster wheel, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's like that thing with the little circular deal, and round it goes, and where it stops, nobody, Well,
the never-ending story, part 2.
Yeah.
The regret.
Alrighty.
Rocky gets wheeled out in a wheelchair and punches out the guy that tries to talk to him about I'm the referee. Punch.
Well, okay, here's another topic of interest. On the wheel of frequency of the planet, where are we? Are more people truthfully waking up and seeing the light and moving toward the light, or are people, where's our frequency at? Let me put it that way, as a collective.
Well, you've heard the old joke, right? I used to go this way to school, uphill, both ways, right? You've heard that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Trudging through the snow. Yeah.
Here's the deal. Think about trying to read a frequency that's going both directions at the same time, and you get the picture.
Yeah, things are a little bit chaotic right now, and they're only going to get more chaotic. And I know Drake here has been saying, get your 2 weeks together since time immemorial. Let's just put it this way. He's right. If the Rona didn't teach you that you should have a little set away, you should. You should. I do. I got a freezer full of beef now, and hopefully it won't freeze up too soon. And if interesting things take place, then I can at least use my Berkey for water. But yeah, there's something people have got to understand. As long as nobody is standing up to change things, things are going to get worse. There's nothing I can do, or the Silver Legion, or anyone else can do to stop you guys and the people on this planet, and that means me too, from experiencing what we need to experience collectively to kick us in the ass until we get off our fucking duffs and do something and do the right thing. It will get worse until we wake up.
Does that mean I get to throw hand grenades?
You might get to throw hand grenades. You might also get to shoot some mercury sulfide bullets. I don't know.
Wow. So, we kind of have been saying this along, that people need to get off their duff and do something. But I just got this feeling that most people just don't know what to do.
Well, that's the thing, right? Everybody always asks what to do. And let me tell you, if you're going out and you're doing something stupid, that doesn't help anything. Right? Throwing Molotov cocktails doesn't help anything. Shooting the wrong person who's not responsible doesn't help anything. Look inside your heart. Pull it out from your inside, your core, your gut, from your navel to your throat, that area in there.
That's messy.
Whatever it is, whatever it is that you are pulled to, start doing. And that does not involve making anyone else do anything. That involves you and you alone. You take care of you first, right? You take care of your work before you start telling anyone else what to do. I will never tell you what to do other than to say, look in your own self and pull it out and figure it out yourself. Because I don't know you. I don't know what your heart's desire is. I don't know what your best talent is. I could tell you to go pick up a shovel and dig a ditch. That might not be the best thing you can do unless you are really driven to ditch digging, right? So figure it out. Even if it doesn't seem big, even if it doesn't seem important, even if it doesn't seem world-shaking, this is fractal. Things that seem small and insignificant might mean the world.
Oh.
Nothing is too small, nothing is too big.
Does that mean I need your
kindness are a good thing?
Yeah.
Does that mean I get to listen to these voices in my head?
I don't know about your head, maybe your gut.
No, that usually makes a rumbly sound, and I fart not too long after that. So,
well, I always knew you was full of hot air, Drake.
You have no idea.
Maybe you need one of those mesh hats that they have for EMF or voice to skull, so that can't happen.
Oh God, yeah. It ain't a tinfoil hat you need.
Yeah, they laughed at that. They laughed at that, but actually, it had
increases the reception.
I will get mine out one day. It's got style.
Oh, I want to see it, Drake. You don't have it handy, huh?
I might have to put it back.
Does it have a propeller beanie?
No.
Oh.
Put it. If I'm gonna fly around, ET's gonna give me a spaceship, or I'm gonna start messing them all up.
Well, didn't they promise you one?
Yeah, several of the leaders of the. Let's see, what was it? I went to a Galactic Council meeting, and there was, I don't know, half a dozen of them said, "Oh yeah, you'll get your spaceship." Yeah, okay.
I don't know what it is with the New Age obsession where everybody thinks they're going to be a spaceship captain. Why is it always a spaceship captain? No one ever wants to be the power engineer or the gunnery sergeant. Always the captain.
This is just a personal ship
doctor.
to go buzz the Pentagon in places with.
Yeah, and what's with the obsession of landing on the White House lawn? Well, do you
I
think
love it.
that this shit can't be real until CNN says it is?
Yeah.
CNN is never going to say it's real. CNN will die first.
Criminal Law News Network.
Well, what's this about? I heard somewhere along the line that CNN was taken over by Trump. Is there any truth to that?
Well, that'd be interesting if that was the case.
That's not true. So somebody's lying.
What happened was he got to some of the people, and one of them was interviewing Pelosi and really blew her out of the water. You ain't feeding people or taking care of people. Why in the hell are you in your office?
Oh wow,
That's one of the major talking heads at CNN was asking her that. You don't talk to me like that. Want to bet?
Yeah, they never have been challenged by any of the reporters because they're all deep state.
Well, this guy did, and I think that's a very interesting turn of events. I don't know if the wave did it or Trump kicked somebody in the whatevers or how that works, but I like it.
So the wave is in full force and still coming at us.
Oh yeah, it's inevitable.
It's already here.
We're in it.
Coming in?
We're in the event horizon. That's why things are so turbulent and chaotic.
I cataloged a bit. One of these days I'll learn to talk. I cataloged a major shift in orbit, position, and direction, and a few other things in terms of. I do the old archaeoastronomy type observation because you don't have to have any tools. You just watch what's going on. You make note of, it's about that time when it shouldn't be here at all, kind of that sort of deal. And I use the Pleiades because it's easy to spot. All right, and our relationship to that particular area of the universe, area of the galaxy, has been getting further and further out of whack. I estimate right now it being somewhere in the neighborhood of anywhere from 2 days to 2 years out of whack. That's just a rough estimate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, one of the comments that I had back to what we were talking about before talked about an over creator, and I thought that might be good if we could address that.
I will make one thing abundantly clear.
Okay.
There is no over source. There is no over creator. There is no God over everything. Even our source is only one of many, and that source does not have authoritative domain over creation.
Ooh,
there is nothing that has that kind of authority over any part of creation. The only things that attempt to give the perception of that authority are false gods and demiurgic constructs who are here from the attacking principle that is trying to kill this universe, enslave you, and make horrible things happen to everything that exists. If you don't want to be soul kibble, don't follow these false authorities. They have no domain over you or anything. And we don't take orders from pieces of crap like that.
So alternate's out of business, huh?
Yep.
So
That's
this concept of jealous God and
it's an ET psyop.
Okay.
That's who it was. Big pissed off ET throwing lightning bolts, makes columns of fire to confuse people that didn't have any education in the matter. Pretty simple. When
Easy
you know
enough
what the
to
hell's
pass
going on.
yourself off as a god to things that are, people who are still banging rocks together to make fire.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, but you're not a god. That's the thing, right?
Man,
Just because you have high tech doesn't make doesn't give you domain over people who don't, right? It's just
Yeah, but that
assholes
just
seizing power.
but that really screws up all my delusions of grandeur.
There are beings that might be properly termed gods. They do not have authority over you or anyone else. They usually have what's called a portfolio, a portion of
Ooh.
creation that they sort of embody, but absolutely you don't owe them any kind of worship or obedience or anything like that. They're your equals, not your betters.
And they are very willing to not only help but also teach you how.
Yeah, anything that's demanding obeisance or obedience from you, send them to the curb. Fight back.
I like that. Oh, I never liked that word, obedience.
No, I can't understand these kids who run around with obey on their sweaters and on their hats and stuff. It's like, who do you think is obeying? It's you who's being told to obey. You're not the one making the rules. Cut it out.
Ooh.
Wow. Well, some of the things that we found that some of the teachers have been teaching in
Oh, boy.
schools is absolutely an abomination of what's passing for education.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. I am an educator, and I consider myself to be something of a subversive educator because I don't go along with the regular bullshit.
For
And
shame.
it is bullshit.
I'm glad to hear someone
Education
in that
has
profession
fallen.
saying that, because
Oh, there's a few of us. Unfortunately,
good.
most of the teachers have fully bought on to the Marxists' demoralization attempts, which is exactly what they are.
1619. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Canada, so things are a bit different here. But yeah, it's
Really?
it's garbage, and all too many teachers have bought into it, and they're buying into it honestly because they honestly think it's the right way, but it's not, and they'll figure it out sooner or later.
Hey, Tath, how about we start a school and give it the name that it is, Life Skills, and see
Indeed.
what falls in the door, and charge a shitload to the people that can afford it. Well,
I don't know, if it was up to me, education would be free and available for everyone.
Thank you.
Because
that's what I'm saying. You charge a shitload from the people that got all the money, then you ain't got to charge the lower class people. You just let them in. Come on in, man. It's cool.
But and it's not just education that's to blame. I am firmly convinced that the chemical assault that we put our kids through has a large responsibility for the fact that a lot of people these days can't think.
Thank you.
They can only emote. They can't process consciously and rationally even their own emotions. It's just react emotionally and start screaming when something triggers the buttons, right?
Now you know the reason for the name of the school.
Yeah, but I think it has something to do with all the heavy metals that are in our foods and endocrine and injections and the endocrine disruptors. Now, I've spoken before on the role of aluminum in poor health. There is a really, really good documentary that everyone should watch. Age of Aluminum, it's called. You can find it free online in certain areas, but I can't remember the links for it, and they might have gone bye-bye by now. But go take a look for Age of Aluminum and watch it. It's about a 2-hour documentary, and it is well worth it.
Yeah.
And before you slather on that aluminum-based deodorant, or cook in that aluminum pot, or pop that aluminum-based medicine, consider that video. Consider not only the costs on human health, but the costs on the environment. Aluminum production is one of the dirtiest, filthiest, most dangerous.
But that's where we get our toothpaste additive, fluoride, man. Come on now.
Yeah. Fluoride is another one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna interject a little something here.
Okay.
The fun and games with metals in particular. Most of your cast iron is aluminum free. Think about that very carefully. Now, the other part is that the same odd health problems that you would get from just simply eating your beer can, let's say, become prevalent when you cook in a skillet, pot, or pan that is even what they call encapsulated. They take a piece of steel, slap aluminum on it, slap another piece of steel on it. Okay. The problem is that on an atomic basis, you still get the adverse effects of the aluminum, just like you didn't have any steel. You have to understand that the things that you surround yourself with in combination, and it can be metals or plastics, either one, make a great big difference in the health or lack thereof that you have. I've always recommended that you can be partial or mostly vegan, not absolutely and completely, and still get away with eating things if, and it's a big if, organic. And by organic, I'm talking about, I checked suppliers of a grocery we go to because we like the food. We got the organic stuff. Oh man, it was delicious. And the only difference was that it was truly, really organic. And I thought, well, so I checked. There are a bunch of organic farmers contributing to this particular grocery chain, and I like it.
I would recommend, if you have near you farmers markets,
Yes.
get busy and go to farmers markets. Sometimes
Yes.
you can get better quality food for a lower price than you get in the grocery store. Invest in a freezer. And I'm not talking, the little sort that goes above or below your fridge. I'm talking a full-size chest freezer or a stand-up. And start buying, if you're a meat eater, start buying directly from farmers, because it's more likely to be grass-fed and grass-finished or pastured, which means that the animal lived a good life, ate healthy, and is healthy. Yeah. So it's less impactful on the environment because you're not farming a whole bunch of grain to feed to animals. Hoof action is very, very good for the soil, and they're probably rotating their crops properly using fallow land and rotating pasturage, which means that it's not losing soil nutrients. If you're a vegan, if you're eating factory farmed vegetables and grains, you're still contributing to animal death by the bucket load, right? Like, you roll a harvester through a field of grain and there's hundreds of thousands of little critters that are going to be dead. So don't think that you are somehow sparing animals just because you're sparing the big ones with the faces.
Well,
the absolute worst thing you can eat is factory farmed anything.
I agree.
Go
100%.
go directly to the farmers, buy from them. You'll be giving them more money than they can get selling it commercially to the factory farming system, and you'll be paying less for high quality, healthy foods that don't disrupt the environment, and you will be protecting the family farm, which has been under assault, hand over fist, by the cabal. Because if they can run the family farm out of business, they can control the food supply. And if they control the food supply, they control what goes in it. And they start making food that makes us stupid, fat, lazy, sick, and all of those ills. It has nothing to do with vegetarian or carnivore. It has to do with processed foods.
It has a lot to do with that, and it has a lot to do with glyphosate, which has been...
Oh, yeah. Glyphosate is nasty, nasty crap.
Now you can
You
that
would be
whether
healthier eating nothing but red meat that has never touched glyphosate than by eating even small amounts of something grown in glyphosate. And one thing that is a real pisser for me personally is even stuff that's labeled organic can have glyphosate applied as a pre-harvest desiccant to make more of the grain fall out of the stalk.
I was mortified when I found that out, that they could call it organic and they were using glyphosate and Roundup to desiccate the wheat.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And that stuff, people who have non-celiac wheat intolerance, gluten intolerances, it's most likely linked to glyphosate.
It is. And I have
not that wheat is particularly healthy as it is, but the glyphosate sure doesn't help anything.
Yes, it's frequently directly related to that in my humble opinion. The other thing that people have to be aware of, and one of the things why I agree with you 100% about if you're a meat eater, to get your meat from a local farmer who doesn't use what they use in feedlots for commercial beef. I've been there. My husband used to work there. They feed him 3 months with GMO corn. Man.
Yep. Corn, soy, and waste grain. Because not all grain that you grow is fit for human consumption. And what happens to the grain that we grow that is not fit for human consumption is it becomes animal feed.
Oh
And
boy.
it's usually amended with all kinds of inorganic vitamins and
Yes.
minerals that they add.
Because they
Well,
destroy
the thing,
the soil.
Yes, and it's also amended with antibiotics because when you have a confined animal feeding operation, well, a disease can rip through the population really quick. So they feed them antibiotics not only to prevent disease, but because antibiotics will cause you to gain weight really, really quick.
yeah,
So they don't have to feed them as long.
Not only that, as having been with a cowboy, once the animal is sick, they jack them full of just about every antibiotic they have to make sure that they survive long enough to be fed out and processed.
And this is what contributes to antibiotic resistance in humans too. It's not, people misusing antibiotics has an effect too. But the biggest sinner in antibiotic resistance is the agricultural industry.
I agree 100%. As a nutritionist, I agree, Tanaath. I'm so happy you said that. And that's the way it is. Very good. And the other thing about buying from a local farmer, one of the things that they do is the mass producers, our food production, is they irradiate the food, they pasteurize all the drinks. All of these things destroy nutrients, and they pick the food way too early. So if you buy from a local market, you're not going to have that problem, because not only will it taste better, it'll taste better because it's picked when it's ripe, not when it's unripe, And
Yeah.
so that's a big.
There's a kind of strawberry that it's only ripe here at the end of June. I don't know what they're called. I call them pop tops because the top half of the strawberry is white and sticks up. It doesn't look anything like the California strawberries that you get in the store. They're little and they taste so delicious, but they're only in season for about 2 weeks. And they're the only thing I'll eat that's a strawberry, because we get those big foam, sour, tasteless things from California, and they're just disgusting.
Yes, they are.
The only thing I'll do is cook them down for compote.
If you've seen the list of stuff in those strawberries, I know I've posted it in the past on Facebook, you wouldn't touch it. It's full of chemicals. They're one of the most highly chemicalized, pesticided, herbicide, you name it, that they use. And you're very fortunate, Drake, in the area that you live, that the farmers and ranchers don't believe in chemicals. And I found that to be true with a lot of whenever you're dealing with a family farm and so on. It's as soon as you start dealing with these major manufacturers, even or so-called organic ones, they have lobbied to be able to add chemicals and stuff like that. So it's horrible. And I feel fortunate as a child. My father always had a garden, and we always bought our meat from a local rancher.
we grow a lot of our own here on the patio. Tath has in some ways seen the patio.
I unfortunately am not in a place where I can grow any of my own, because that's the most ideal of all.
I can't grow much here.
Yeah, but
I've never been really good at growing things, but I'm pretty decent at raising animals. So
same here. I have that. I'm that way too. To tell you the truth.
If you don't screw over a plant too badly, it generally knows what to do about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Remember to water it. That's important. And not overwater it too. That's another aspect. So anyway,
yeah.
onward and upward. So our food supply has been seriously messed with. So we're getting, and I do feel sorry for the younger generations because they've been inundated with chemicals.
Yeah,
From the air.
between the bullshit and mind control programming that they get from all angles, and the chemicals, and not just the heavy metals and the stuff like that, but the plastics and the, you know, plastic is a really big one. All of the endocrine disruptors. It's
BPA, yeah.
It's very hard. I don't know how any of them can even think. And like I deal with I work with kids on a daily basis, and I can see the damage. I can see it in their faces. I can see it in how they act and how they're completely unable to comprehend certain things.
This is sad, and that's the ones that we see, I think, that are out there that have, are doing this protest. They haven't thought out what they're doing.
No, they don't have the capacity. It's frightening. It's, and I teach in a district that has both rural schools and urban schools. And I go to both. And the difference between the rural schools and the urban schools is night and day. The urban schools, they're really, really bad in the urban schools. Like, they just don't have anything between their ears. But you go out to the rural schools where they're still eating traditionally. A lot of them are farmers, and they're still eating from the land. And they're a lot smarter. They're able to think. They're able to, people think of people in rural areas as stupid. No, they're the smart ones right now because they're the only ones with functioning brain cells left. It's really marked.
Mm-hmm. Well, they dumped a lot of aluminum on us too with those chemtrails, and it's what's helping the trees burn down in the whole West Coast as well.
Yeah. We're trying to do stuff to mitigate the chemtrails, and there's other groups that are. I know the people like to talk about the Arcturians, but the Arcturians aren't really involved here much, except for helping deal with the pollution.
Oh, they are? That's awesome.
And the tectonics. And honestly, I'm fine with that. I'd rather they not get involved with the geopolitical at this point, because all they can do is make things worse. But helping with the atmosphere and helping with the water and the soil, and keeping the planet from shaking herself into pieces, that I'm okay with that.
Wow. What about the different councils? Where are they at in terms?
Screw the different councils. Everybody's got a council of this or a council of that or a numbered council or whatever. Like, screw all that shit. None of them have authority here. None of them are worth the salt. They're not worth anything. They're a bunch of pieces of shit trying to seize power and seize authority where they don't have any, but they want you to believe it. I had someone try to threaten me with bureaucracy. It was about the funniest shit I ever experienced. Like, oh no, not the councils. No, none of these councils are worth shit. None of them have any authority, any domain, any say in any of this, but they're all desperate to make you think they do. Don't buy it.
And they talk a lot.
Oh, they talk a lot.
Well, at one point, Drake, you talked about councils being formed on Earth here. Is that you're talking about totally different councils?
Well, I'm talking about terrestrial councils that will represent a country. That council then would modify to a very small group who would get together with other groups. This is what would be considered what it would take for the planet in terms of the population to become to go in a good orderly direction, put it that way. You have people that have a lot, that can afford to give a lot, and if it's applied correctly in the right places, it can make one hell of a difference. As I got it from this certain contact, America is supposed to be the first to see things of that nature start happening. Second place is going to be each and every last one of the really destitute, poor, not eating, can't get water places for people. That's going to be the second biggie. Third one is going to be where they tell the I love this, the oligarchs, what they can do with themselves, and if they don't pay attention or they don't listen, then they're going to be on the receiving end of what they've done to other people. Put them in a cage and don't feed them. Leave them without water a couple of days. See how they like that shit.
Yeah. Speaking
That's
of
what I
water,
hear.
speaking of water, I was under the understanding that in Mexico, the farmers were up in arms because they cut off the water.
Not exactly.
From the
What they did was they have a treaty that sends hundreds of millions of gallons of water from a dam or reservoir, however you want to look at it, to the United States when they need the water there. That's pretty gross, and the people on the American end of it laugh about it a lot. I don't think it's so funny, and I don't think they would either if somebody happened to accidentally forget to water their butts for a couple of days to see how they feel about that. I'm thirsty. So what?
Yeah.
Simple.
It's just like a cooperative effort. I mean, we depend a lot on the produce that's made in Mexico as well as what we get here. So why would we be so cruel?
Because it's a treaty, and you have large urban areas on the West Coast that are growing like crazy, and they need the water. Well, at one point or another, the people are going to step up, and say, not anymore. And when the people in general, and it's not just Mexico in this particular situation, this is all over the planet.
Yeah.
When the people finally stand up, and it's going to be scary, and say, we're not going to participate in your bullshit any longer, then we got some direction that we can take things that would be equitable for everybody. Until that time, enjoy the riots.
So we're still waiting for people to stand up and say no more. I'm still wondering why in California the people haven't gotten together to take these morons out of office that are causing and allowing.
Well, because they think the morons are going to help them get all their progressive, communist bullshit. And that's, you know what? I teach civics. This never ends well, ever.
Oh boy.
I know.
Look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of all the populations that went in that direction, and the people were starving.
Yeah. You know, Hitler might have killed 6 million people, but communism killed over 100 million in the last century. And no, you're not going to be the first one to do it correctly. There is no way to do this correctly.
Just 100 million?
Oh, probably more than that, but yeah.
I think you're 10 times light on that. I'd try 10 billion.
We don't have. Nah, never mind.
Well, you got to remember all of the tribes, as an example, the ones in the United States that got wiped out through the exercise of socialist programming, specific permission from churches and all that happy crap. Yeah. You go down into South America and start looking at the records, start looking at the history, and
I know.
It's shocking. Out of 50 tribes, they maybe have one left.
It's pretty
and it's
rough.
all over.
But I happen to know that the assault on the indigenous people of the world, while they try to pin it on people like white people, which is horse shit, because Europe has a number of nations with very different cultural beliefs, and it wasn't even all the English either. It was a specific faction among the English and among the Spanish and the French who were specifically carrying out a mandate of genocide on the indigenous cultures of the world on behalf of the cabal.
That reminds me of that book, The Jewish Hitler.
But the intent behind it was to wipe out indigenous culture and in particularly indigenous ways of understanding the world and of being in the world. because those were the old traditional spirituality of humanity.
And they were close to nature.
Yeah, and they were generally, most of the time, harmonious with the world.
Yep. Yep.
And the creatures
Well,
in it.
it's just like now. You don't, if you just look in America alone right now, you see, and this is nothing that's meant to be racist, but you see, the BLM, which of course is backed
Burn,
by
loot,
the
murder.
Democrat. Yeah. And look at what they massacred the Native Americans. You don't see them out there doing this crap or asking.
No, and you know what? They're trying to have BLM protests in Nunavut. Nunavut, which is the Inuit live there. And now they're trying to deplatform and cancel somebody, a Nunavut native, Inuit, who is saying, why do we need this BLM protests here? Why aren't we talking about First Nations, Métis, and Inuit? Go the heck back home.
No. You set them out in that wonderful winter weather they got up there, and you don't have to worry about it very long.
Well, that's true. I like that wonderful winter weather. I'm happier in -20 than I am in +20 Celsius. I know you guys have your crazy non-rational units down there, but.
Well, the crazy or non-rational units are the ones that are authentic. The metric system in toto, all of it is based on variable gravitational pull on a pendulum. All of it. I've looked it up. What you might be surprised at is who made sure that the foot, inch, and all that stuff were used specifically in places that are still standing. So the ones that were that used the centimeter, centigrade, and all that are not. Bear that in mind.
I don't know. I prefer the math involved in the centigrade because it's
simpler.
No, it's rational. It's simpler. I don't have to do nearly as many fractions and conversions.
Yeah.
But I prefer to cook. I prefer to cook in imperial.
That's cool.
Well, let's see here. I need a pinch of this, a dab of that.
Yep.
They tried to get Grandma's cookie recipe, and it was not possible. Now, wait a minute. Show me what that dab is. How much that is? I can't show you, but I can give you an idea. What do you mean?
And I have to say, when I'm talking about somebody's height, it is a lot easier to visualize feet and inches than it is to try to visualize hundreds of centimeters.
Yeah.
So very true.
Average height is 2 meters. What the hell's a meter? We got yards.
Yeah, a meter is just over a yard. It's like
I know what it is.
It's
39 inches. 39 and a fraction, and a fraction, and a fraction. Oh, you don't like that? Oh.
I use imperial when I'm doing woodwork and blacksmithing because you still use those measurements.
Yep.
Lumber is still sold here in imperial units.
Yes.
Yeah, Canada is a mixed up, crazy place where we got little bits of metric and little bits of imperial.
So how do you
get your dose of whatever you're looking.
Trudeau up there in Canada?
Sorry, can you say that again?
That's our favorite person.
Trudeau. Ugh, don't get me started. Well, around here, he's not particularly well loved. I live in a province that, we're let's say we are more akin to Montana than we are to California or New York.
More or less Canadian hillbillies.
Yeah, we're the Canadian hillbillies. I even collect trucker hats. So yeah.
Oh my.
Oh yeah.
I ended up with 15 boxes full of them, and I figured to dump them.
Yeah, my collection is not nearly as extensive, but we're a little redneck up here, and we don't like Trudeau. A little, just a little. We don't like Trudeau very much out here. It's funny because even in schools I go in there and I hear nothing but the kids hate him. The kids hate him because all their parents hate him. But the teachers are like, Trudeau is such a statesman. Oh, he's so handsome. I was sitting here thinking, what? Well, his eyebrows trying to flee. He's a good-looking idiot. He's a cabal stooge.
Yeah, he sure is. Unbelievable.
Intergenerational cabal.
Hmm.
He's been
Uh,
initiated. You know, when half his friends are high profile pedophiles.
who's that?
Trudeau.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And unapologetic blackface. I mean, come on.
Oh, well.
Yeah, if that is going to be a career killer for anyone else, it should be a career killer for him too. Why the double standard? Why does Trudeau get a pass?
Why don't people arrest him for the treasonous acts he's done?
I'd like to know.
Well, it's very simple. You get a pass on these things from the people that actually control it.
Yep.
There's two classes of those. One is the multi-billionaire, trillionaire group that occupies a lot of countries. And then you have the ones that make trillionaires look like dog food. And they're the ones that do the international monetary transfers, control the International Monetary Fund and the central banking system to a large extent, a bunch of other things. When, and only when, we decide that that shit's illegal, then will we be able to grasp some form of finance. Now, ET has told me, and these are the people that have been doing some of the planning to try to get us to where we need to be, the ones that are helpful, have told me that they're going to do away with the monetary system simply because it's too screwy to try to fix it.
Yeah, there's no way to repair this. You know,
Sure
I've
there
heard
is.
some people who are sitting here asking for Nicera and Gesera and thinking if somebody delivers $1 million to their inbox that they'll somehow be okay. No. As long as you have the current financial system set up with stocks and bonds and imaginary money and fiat currency and shell games and debt slavery and all this garbage, it can't be salvaged. We need to return to a fixed currency that is based on something real, not just imaginary numbers on a screen.
An infinite monopoly game.
Isn't that what Trump's supposedly doing when talking about gold-backed currency?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. They're going to have to.
Okay, what about the confiscation of the assets of all the diabolical people who have been robbing and enslaving people left and right, that are the oligarchs and the
Take dull instruments and perform certain religious procedures upon their privates, and I guarantee you they will be willing to comply with anything you want them to do.
Hang them.
No. I'll say this again now to pay attention. You get a hold of dull instruments and perform certain religious ceremonies upon their privates with those instruments. And I guarantee you, long before you get done with that, they're going to be willing to do anything you want them to do.
Is that what it takes?
In some cases, you got to just plain flat kill them.
There's no reasoning with them. They're monsters. If they're smart enough and human enough to surrender, then yeah, let them surrender. Deal with that.
But
most of them won't.
guarantee.
Most of them won't. Well, heck, if they surrender to us, they stay surrendered. We'll just put it that way.
I got an answer for them. I got an answer for them.
Don't put that on the show. That could get me in trouble.
What, get you? No. You're on a platform that don't have that trouble. Remember?
YouTube will.
YouTube will.
Not YouTube. She ain't on YouTube.
Well, I was, but people had. I can't believe how difficult a time people had finding brand new to when I gave them the link.
Yeah.
Put it in.
We had issues with a friend of mine's ISP blocked it. There's also BitChute. BitChute is, as far as I know, still decent.
Yeah, I guess I will go to BitChute. I do have it there, and I usually I was putting shows on BitChute because that I thought YouTube would mess with, and BitChute's a little more difficult for uploading and stuff. It usually takes longer. I mean, YouTube was good that way. but they have since been very problematic, censoring everything left and right. And
Oh yeah. All the mainstream sources are controlled. And that's one of their aims.
Yeah. You control the information, you control the thought.
Yep.
If you control the thought, you control the person.
And
If
they
you control
pander. They pander to that inability to think, that feeling-driven
Yeah.
crap.
we're getting feedback now all of a sudden. I don't know if you guys hear it, but I hear it.
Yeah, I
Feedback?
hear it. It's coming from Drake.
Drake, what
Make
did
sure
you do?
your microphone is far away from your speakers, brother.
That's as far as it gets.
All right.
It just started, though. It wasn't happening before.
Oh, well, you got to understand something. I'm getting a lot of glitchy bullshit. And I'll express this, that there are people out there who do not want to have the three of us get together and talk, period. So anything they can do to screw it up, they will.
Oh, okay. It just stopped. Well, no, it didn't.
Oh, it's just the old bullshit. Hey, Drake, you remember when they used to disconnect us all the time?
Well, you want to get into the fun and games of it, they actually turned the power grid off up here to stop me from doing my shows.
Oh, man, there was this one time I was doing a show with Corey Taylor Talks, and I was talking about locus of control, basically having, your sense of your own personal control and focusing on the things, your own life and the things you can affect before, allowing yourself to be essentially controlled from the outside and pushed around like a boat on the ocean without a motor. And every time I mentioned the locus of control, they'd disconnect me. Just boom, just right out like that. I guess they didn't
she's out
want
of
teenagers
Vegas,
knowing
isn't
that.
she?
Yeah. I guess they
it's-
didn't want teenagers having that kind of information.
Yeah.
Why?
Nasty,
Why?
nasty.
Because you can't blame the world for everything that goes wrong in your life. Take control of your life and take control of yourself.
Really?
That was before they really started with the current campaign of paranoia and anti-cognitive behavioral therapy, that is critical race theory and all of this garbage,
Oh, boy.
where it's blame everything else around you for the reason why your life is shit instead of take personal responsibility and personal control.
And 200 years ago, my great-great-great-grandfather smacked his slave, and we're all going to hell for it.
I'm not descended from anybody who ever owned slaves, so they want to try to make me responsible for something somebody else's ancestors do. I'll punch them in the face.
I don't have any ancestors of that nature.
You can't punish the past by harassing the present. It doesn't work. You'll never fix the past.
But they're having so much fun with them riots and pulling statues down. Hell,
They're just destroying themselves.
they don't understand that part.
No.
Well, the sad part of it is a lot of them that I've arrested were found out to be teachers.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of
Unbelievable.
teachers sort of imagine themselves as revolutionaries.
Maybe the federal government ought to pull their teaching credentials.
I would think so.
Down in the States, I heard there were teachers who were upset because parents could listen in on Zoom and hear what they were actually teaching their children. And I'm sitting here up in Canada where we need to be accountable, and we still have some standards there, and thinking, if you are teaching stuff that you are afraid the parents will hear, then maybe you're doing it wrong.
Maybe
Maybe you should rethink that.
And the parents should be up in arms about that.
Oh yeah. Well, it's rough because I also see that most parents don't take any kind of responsibility for their children or what their children do or learn whatsoever. Most people are happy to leave it to the teachers.
Get a bunch of hotheads together and go drag a teacher out, kicking and screaming out of the school, off the property, and tell them, come back and we'll hurt you.
I don't know if that's the answer. Most of the teachers, they're the result of a long running consistent
we have lost
demoralization program. Yeah.
We have lost two full generations to this, and the third one is coming out all fucked up.
And don't
Anybody
get me
don't believe
started.
that?
Don't get me started on what they did to math.
Oh, what?
Oh my
Oh,
God. the
over
math
here we have
comes-
something called Discovery Math, which is a basket of stupid.
Common Core.
Oh,
Core.
well, we don't have Common Core here in Canada,
Ridiculous.
but Common Core is pretty disgusting. We have
Canada-
something. Yeah,
What she's
we're
talking about
still
is-
ahead.
What she's talking about is Canada spells it backwards.
Well, no, we have this province and its individual provinces runs the curriculum in Canada, and they set the curriculum, but there is a lot of freedom for teachers to and for schools and districts to roll that out. It's sort of like as if education was run by the individual states, which is what I think your president is aiming to do. And as an educator in a system where we do that, I would say that is the preferable thing than setting a government mandated curriculum for the entire country, because Nova Scotia is not BC, is not Nunavut, is not Alberta, just like California is not Montana, is not Idaho, is not New York, is not Florida. Individual states need to have the mandate over their education. And
It's
yes, that might mean
1619.
And they need to stop rewarding schools for the purpose of passing out medication or.
yeah, that's just no. The laws here around administering medication. We cannot administer medication to students in Canada. It has to be something that is prescribed by a doctor, and they have to either take it themselves or take it under, from their parents have to provide it, right? The only thing that we can administer is an EpiPen.
They don't do that here. That's I was told they were getting incentives for that, just like they get incentives for injected people in the healthcare industry.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Bonuses.
It is. Well, I do hope what Trump has said about healthcare will be totally different in a year's time.
Well, I hope so too. I'd heard some rumors, and I have no way to confirm them, that he was planning on releasing some of the stuff that had been hidden from us. And I think if he gets in a second term, which, let's face it, we all know that the votes are going to go that way, but the media will lie. Which is why I'm going to remind you all to have your 2 weeks, because things could get interesting around November 3rd. 2
weeks? Try about 3 or 4 months.
Might help, but most people can't afford to just drop everything and go buy 3 or 4 months.
It costs $25 to get enough rice and beans to see you through a year. Once you flavor it, don't flavor it with the neighbor's cat. It probably won't taste right.
No, cats make terrible dinner. Dogs taste better, apparently, but
yeah,
I wouldn't want to eat
get
one.
some canned meat.
You can't have my dog either.
I wouldn't want to eat one. I'd honestly starve before I ate my kitty.
I'd starve before I ate my dog. I mean,
Mine would have, if I had one, mine would definitely be objecting too much, so I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
They get testy when you start pulling their skin and fur off.
Yeah, I like my kitty too much to ever eat her, and I don't think I'd ever eat any of the dogs I knew either, because I like them too much.
But the thing
I'd go down to the valley and eat tree bark before I do that.
The thing that everybody's looking at is they don't know which way to go, because nobody has taken the gist of the things we've talked about and run it on a mainstream channel.
And as long as the cabal runs the media, they never will.
Oh, that's not exactly the way it works. They're a little bit shy on cash right now as it is. You come up waving $1 million in their face, you'll get what you want. Take my word for it. I know somebody did it, and it worked well. So, and what was really funny is that person did not have to give up $1 million. They gave it back to the person they borrowed it from. They just wanted something to wave in their face.
Parasites.
Do you think that the media is going to be altered in any manner, shape, or form in the distant future? That would help. Well, that would help. That's been, I mean, they are the enemy of the people.
They are.
Off with their heads,
Oh, I
said the
agree.
Queen. Well,
but
what everybody doesn't realize, and everybody would love to see things come out nice, peaceful, orderly, and no harm done generally. The only problem is you got some nutcases out there that got heads as hard as concrete blocks. They're not only not going to give it up, they're going to bring violence to you. You need to be able to be prepared in such a manner so that the shotgun is ready and you can pop them off the porch. Now, in some cases, when things start reorganizing themselves according to the wave, we will see a whole lot less violence and problems in that area. However, you still got some dinks out there who feel they are not only all that, but are accorded special privileges. And this includes oligarchs and all the way down to the street people. And the problem is that these are the people that sell the guns to the gangs and whatnot. These are the people that bring in the drugs. These are the people who not only know what's going on, but they enable the whole program. So you have some people that are not kosher. Let's put it this way. They shouldn't be using up our oxygen.
That's a good one. Oh, wow. Well, I don't know where to go from there, but we certainly do have a lot to be concerned with what's upcoming here very shortly.
Oh, yeah. And I will say this, that there will be no escape. Any of these assholes who think they can just run and get off this time, no, it's not happening. Not this time. Enough is enough. Nobody's coming to save their ass.
Oh, man, you mean no white knight and shining armor going to show up on an intergalactic horse and fly them away?
Not this time.
Oh, boy, they're screwed.
Yep.
Well, that's
they
what
don't
we
even
want.
know how screwed they are. And the same goes for all this various rogues gallery of ETs who thought they could interfere and manipulate and cause trouble and they'd be able to just make off with their piece of the pie. No, there is no escape.
I've heard that before. About somebody was talking in the hall when I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I said, "Shh," and he said, "What do you mean? Listen." And they were talking about barbecuing people and all kinds of really nice things. I said, "Now that don't sound too peaceful to me." I got a bunch of people saying, "Our edict is do no harm." I said, "What the hell is the 20 million warriors upstairs doing there? What are they for? They guarding the outhouse or what?" And never did get a good answer to that.
So the warriors that you speak of, are they here? Are they helping us? Or are they?
Oh, hell no. You're talking about something that has the approximate physical mass of a full-grown horse. Number two, they are an erectile, reptilian-looking thingamabob. They can regenerate. In other words, if you don't after you kill one, you shoot him with the right kind of bullet in the right place, and it falls over. You have one other thing that you got to do, and that's you got to go out there and behead that mother, or you're going to do it twice. It will heal itself up, regenerate, and come after you again. Now you don't want that.
That's what I heard. That's really true, huh?
Well,
some of them, the green ones regenerate.
I know some people on the Spec Ops unit that's all they do and have done for the last 10 years, give or take, is hunt them things. That's all they do.
The orange ones, they're color coded. They have a genetic caste system where, depending on what color they are, you want to talk racism, these guys have it in spades. What color they are determines what their function is within society. And the green ones are the ones that regenerate. The orange ones are the ones that mind control the others, right?
And the black ones disappear.
The black ones disappear. They're the assassins.
The orange ones, isn't that interesting? That's what they referred to about Drake.
That's interesting, yeah. Well, obviously, whoever was like Orange Yoda, what was it they said? Orange Yoda reptilian? Yeah, I'm sorry, that sounds like horse shit to me. Now, I would know if Drake had been replaced. There wouldn't be any hiding that from me.
Really?
Just like Drake would know if I had been replaced.
Yeah.
And so would others. I know people like to claim sometimes that I've been replaced. No, I am still here. I am still me. I am me. That has never changed.
I'm having too much fun to go anywhere myself.
Yippee-ki-yay, that's good to know. We have two.
Exactly.
And no matter what people try to say to discredit others for their own benefit, it doesn't work when it just comes right down to it and is confronted by people that are talking behind your back, basically.
Oh, I don't care about that. I don't itch back there unless something's there biting me. So, I can tell you what they can bite. I will try to be nice on the show.
Okay. Well, that's all very interesting. So humanity is getting to where we want them to go, or we still have a long ways
where we need to be.
Where we need to be.
One way or another, they'll get there.
Yeah.
It's
watching that
things might get
right now. Let's talk timelines. Are we on
timelines?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are in the event horizon of a collapsing quantum wave. Talking timelines is one of these things where it really does not contribute meaningfully to anything. I know there are people who like to obsess over timelines and timeline jumping and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend it right now. We'll put it that way. You can really only make things worse. Things are going to get as chaotic and scary as they need to for people to wake the fuck up.
Yeah, that's called having your timeline, and Big Kahuna quantum wave comes along, ties a knot in it.
Yeah.
It
now is
up
a good time to go playing with timelines and time travel. Let's just put it that way. Now is a very, very bad time to try that shit.
Oh, well, CERN is going to try it and see if they can.
Ooh, I'd kind of like it that they did. Just let them try.
Well, when she said that, when Gail said that, I kind of took a look, and they said that they're going to try it. Let's see, within about the next 10 days.
Well, this is going to be entertaining.
Yeah, they were going to be creating black holes and parallel.
No, they're going to try.
Well, they got to be careful with that. They might suck their own mass in.
No, they're not going to do that as much as they're going to play the game of let's screw with the timeline, see what happens.
Oh, yeah. That is about the dumbest shit.
Part of it. Hold on, the second part of it's even better. Let's go from there and screw with reality. I don't even know what the hell it is, so it's going to really, watch for pieces of flying politicians.
The only thing dumber than trying to mess with time in the first place is attempting to mess with time and reality in the middle of a quantum collapse.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Let me just tell you, that Project Looking Glass had no idea, could not see any of this.
Well, you see that CERN is a big oval, all right, underground. Yeah, I know. Well, no, yeah, but Gail and others might not. Okay, it's a big oval underground, and it's a certain width and length in terms of ovals. And what's going to be interesting to see if there's anything left that you can tell that there was something other than just dirt there if they do any of this shit. All right. And there's no explosion. It just goes, kind of makes a noise. And it ain't there no more. Now, I understand enough about time travel and timelines and all that not to screw with it unnecessarily. Now, sometimes I'm called upon to adjust something. Well, that's different than really screwing with something. But these dingleberries think that they are God Almighty through technology, and we're going to flip the switch. Now, I don't know if you've seen that screwy movie Red, Retired Extremely Dangerous, with a certain Moses as the operator, but his buddy that he run around with, they switch the flip and you're done. That's pretty much what's going to happen to these dinks. They're going to get their their flipped switches. Now think about their flip getting switched, and you get the how does that work? They don't even have a clue as to how that works, but they're going to turn it on anyway.
Oh, they're really in a Chinese finger trap. And if any of you guys have ever seen a Chinese finger trap, it's one of these things where the more you struggle, the worse it gets for you.
Yeah.
Is that one of those things you push your finger in? Is that what
Yeah, and the more you yank around and try to fuck with it, the more it's the worse it's gonna go. The only way to deal with it is to just sort of gently push all the way, and then it unlocks and you can get your fingers out. And they're in a Chinese finger trap, and they're thrashing around and trying to change it any way they can, and they just don't seem to understand it don't work that way. There is no scenario in which they achieve a victory.
Well, the finger trap as applied in what you're talking about is fairly nice. The one I saw
this is more like a dick trap.
Exactly. It dealt with certain male protuberances, and believe me, you don't go nowhere when something tries to pull it off if you move.
Yep.
Oh my.
And think about now think about your head being stuck, and I'm not talking about the head of something else. I'm talking about your head, your mind, getting stuck in a finger trap. Okay. And the problem is that the other part of it is moving away. So it's got you, and away you go, kind of. Okay, now you begin to get what I was talking about in terms of they want to see how deep the hole is. That's what one of the lead scientists I talked to told me. He said, this is going to be interesting. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, if they screw with it, then the mass is going to invert, and there ain't going to be any. I said, nothing. He said, probably a big hole. I said, I wonder how deep it'll be. He says, I was wondering the same thing. So there you go.
You know what? I guess I would like you to address one last thing, Drake, if you don't mind. And that was
I'm
about
in trouble again.
No, you're not in trouble. The idea of the idea of blowing up a planet. I know you're not Darth Vader, so
it can happen.
Darth Vader is a wuss compared to me. What about blowing up the planets?
I don't know what were you referring to anyone a bad one or one? Obviously,
no. Normally it goes to a common.
People don't know how to take what you said, and I'm just trying to.
Well, it goes to a combination of things. Okay, number one, they consider the entities living on it. If they're any kind of reasonable at all, even if they're crooked as hell, you deal with them. You don't blow up the planet. Now, when you get to the ones that are like some of the Democrats who got running around the United States, which cannot be reasoned with, I mean, Pelosi is her cheese done slid off her bread. She ain't all there. All right. And when you deal with a dink like that, or a BLM leader who says that they are a trained Marxist, you can put them out of their misery. Is about the easiest way to deal with them. However, if they happen to be an alien to the planet Earth, and they have decided that they're going to do nasty things and the fleet's on the way, you get the fly swatter out and you go, and you take care of the fleet. Then you go to the home planet and go, guess what? I'm going to light you up. And you light their fuse. And the planet goes, bluey. They lose every part of anything that had to do with them. Now, that's a worldly explanation of what really takes place. Actually, it's an implosion. You got a sphere, it implodes. Now, when both as the two portions of the sphere come together, the matter ceases to exist. So as you've seen in these sci-fi movies, something blows up in space and a little bit of energy goes in different directions and then it's gone. That's pretty much what happens when you blow a planet up. I have heard rumors of an accident where somebody sat on the button, or however that worked. I've heard of Death Stars, and you saw that in Star Wars. If you didn't, go look at the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I crushed one. You talk about screaming. You talk about screaming. Yeah, screaming and hollering. You ought to hear the people inside when it starts crushing. Ooh, they get all kind of testy.
Well,
Drake and I, there have been a few fleets sent this way, punitive fleets with planet killers aboard, and Drake and I have been involved in stopping that kind of nonsense. Nobody's going to get away with that.
Wow. Well, I had heard at one point too, people get all upset about hearing something like that, but I know too that they had some very nefarious characters on this planet, or whether they're off world or not, I don't know. But they had ICB, I don't know if that's the correct call letters, basically bombs in various places on the planet that would, practically tear it apart.
We removed most of them.
That's what I heard. That's good.
No, this one's not going to be going kablooey. I can tell you that. Generally, when it comes to destroying planets, it's typically not done. Planets are alive. They have souls, and they aren't responsible for what the people on them do. So generally, destroying a planet is sort of the last resort, unless you're a reptilian, in which case it's kind of par for the course. Or other, intensely negative conquistador species. Occasionally, though, you get a planet that is complicit in what their population is doing. And
totally evil.
Yeah, not all planets are good, right? They're not all people are good. Not all planets are good, and sometimes it becomes necessary to remove them.
Is it possible for an entire planet of people to be bad? Wouldn't there be a combination of some good ones?
Yes.
It's rare.
Yes.
It's rare, but it is possible.
Oof.
There is one species in which I've encountered in which I have never, ever, ever heard of even so much as a single member who has not been an awful piece of shit. They are called the Matri. I have never met a Matri. I've never heard of a Matri. I have never heard of anybody who's ever met a Matri that wasn't a complete and utter piece of shit. These guys are cruising for extinction. Full on, no trace remaining, no genetics left.
Wow. Okay.
That means
It's rare. It's rare, but it happens.
That means poof, gone.
Poof. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's
even their hybrids with other species tend to go the way of the Matri. It's like it's fruit of the evil tree, right?
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know, because that will provide some clarification for people who are very concerned about that. It doesn't just happen, like a fluke or something like that.
No, there are unethical groups out there that do threaten destruction and sometimes carry through with destruction. Yeah, the Matri are one of them, by the way. The Reptilians are another. It's not going to happen here. Yeah, it's not going to happen here.
The ones that try to eat people are no.
Yeah, and if there's going to be any planets going kablooey around this area, it's going to be mostly those who have proven themselves to be
Worthy of it. Hey,
highly worthy of it.
We're going to light your
Unredeemable.
fuse.
Well, there are actually entities out there that consider us cattle and eat us just like we're
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going to be finding out the hard way. Never to
I
ease
mean, if
bite to
there's a
chew.
whole planet of them, I don't have any problem with them going.
Well, what I understand the wave does is it inverts things, turns things inside out. So imagine a whole planet full of these whatever you want to call them that eat people. What happens if all of a sudden every one of them gets a Big Mac attack for somebody in the neighborhood? Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I will say, and I have made this clear to those out there. All the effort they are putting into trying to conquer and trying to take over and trying to pull one over everyone else, all the resources, all the efforts they're putting into that, that's going to come out of their hides. One way or another. And it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily that I'm going to be doing this or the Silver Legion is going to be doing this. They think I'm threatening them. No, I am just warning them. This is what a quantum wave collapse does.
Oh,
Take care of yourself.
You mean some nasty going to be pulling chunks of their skin off?
There will be some who will not exist when the dust is settled. And we will be well rid of them.
Bye-bye.
And this quantum wave will do that to them? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. It's a balancing factor. And it is not the product of any particular will or mind or intent. It is a quantum wave. It just is.
Ooh.
I like that. Just is.
Ooh.
Where did it come from?
Where did it come from? That's like asking what's the original sin. It was generated. Okay, somebody's really echoey here. It was generated a very, very long time ago. Universes upon universes ago.
I wonder
And it was generated when the corruption was introduced to the multiverse. And it was generated as a form of troubleshooting to solve the corruption one way or another.
Sneak it in there.
Well, that's pretty much what it boils down to, is something that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all in favor of it, because it just seems almost impossible at times to get rid of this corruption. It's so deep and infiltrated into every single profession and element of society.
Well, and it goes beyond Earth, well beyond Earth. Like, some people like to pretend that this is a local problem. It's not.
Oh, wow.
You want to have fun with the ideology of what's coming up? Think about having a large area populated with vampires, and all of them all of a sudden get thirsty for whoever is next to them.
Well, that's not a pleasant thought, Drake.
Well, sure it is. They wipe themselves out.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
I wasn't seeing it that way. Okay, I get what you mean.
Yep. Think mirror.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Doing unto others as a mirror would have you do unto yourself.
The best way to survive what's to come is to find your productive area, find the place where you are coming from within yourself and not on anyone else, and just be. Do not try to take anyone else down or dominate, because the more you put into dominating, the more you will destroy of yourself.
Ooh.
Wow.
Instead of getting your toenails and fingernails clipped, they're talking about you having to surrender a finger or a toe, maybe an ear,
The moil might take off a little more than just the tip.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that I do what I do to try to get truth out there and try to help people as much as possible with whatever kind of information or what have you that's available to make things better.
Yes. That's primarily why I gave you my books to put out publicly for free, is because a lot of what we've talked about is contained within it. The bad guys are left out. It concentrates on the individual being able to develop themselves to a point where they become the cosmic law of do no harm and help others as much as possible. That's where it's all at.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
And that is available on www.gailofgaia.com. Your books are listed on my website that's under continuous construction.
Work in progress.
Yeah,
We might get
there
done
you
with
go.
it.
Because I don't really know how to do all that, and I can't afford to have somebody else do it for me. So I have a couple people that have been volunteering to be helpful, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that immensely. But that's exactly what we're talking about: helping each other, and so to make this possible, and that's what's going on. So it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful that we've had this talk and we can clarify things that were getting way out of hand.
But I didn't get to throw no hand grenades.
Oh, don't worry. Almost.
Almost. Okay.
So, what
And if
about?
anyone gives you any bull crap about this, let me know, Gail.
Okay.
Because, like I said at the beginning, if you gotta threaten somebody like Gail to tell them to shut up, you're not the good guys.
Thank you, Tanaath. I appreciate that very much.
It's funners.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask this, Drake. How do you feel? What's dare we say what would happen on October 17th?
What happened on October 17th?
Well,
We're not there
2 days
yet.
from now?
Well, it's 2 days away. If you don't want to say anything, that's okay.
Well, no, there's a whole bunch of shit supposed to happen, and we'll see how it goes. The thing that I would do, were I in the position of making something happen, I would respectfully suggest that maybe Biden and Biden Jr. ought to be arrested. Oh, you talk about screwing up a campaign. Think about that one.
I think
That's
I'd have
it.
to cook
That's where you
something in
start.
celebration.
Well, then you got to have, then you got to take Clinton and, well, there, it's too
Obama.
long of a list. Yeah. But the thing that is beginning to piss me off is that we have an abundance of evidence showing a combination of things that if you did any of that sort of crap on a battlefield, you'd be executed on the spot for. Okay, and these butt wipes are getting away with it, and that's really beginning to piss me off. Now, I deal with people that don't have the element of self-control that I do, nor the patience to put up with the horse shit. These people better get some body armor and stay home. That's all I'm going to say. There's a whole, and I mean a bunch, not just 2 or 3.
Well, look what they did to SEAL Team 6.
Well, guess
The truth
what?
is coming out on that right now.
It is about to come back and visit the people that ordered that shit. Okay, and it don't matter what your rank is or where you reside. You can hide in the Pentagon. They'll get you anyway. This is what I'm trying to tell you. These are the people who taught most of the people how to be a SEAL, how to be a super secrecy, how to be Mr. Agent Man. Okay, these people are they you teach something like that for 20 years, you learn something. All right. I'm trying to shut up because if I go any much further than that, I'll get in trouble.
I feel
gonna-
so bad for the families of these people. They never had
Yeah.
closure or the truth about any of it. They even cremated the bodies of the men, which is absolutely criminal in and of itself. It infuriates me when I see it. It almost brings me to tears too, just thinking about how family members must feel.
One thing you got to understand is that when you join the military, you don't have any rights.
That's something
And
they
I
should
don't care
change
about
too.
I don't care. Doesn't matter about the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It doesn't matter about the people that would like to enforce that thing. It doesn't matter that the whole thing's based on constitutionality. What matters is whomever decides. Just as simple. That's why it happened.
Well,
Ain't that
there's a
about
price
it?
to be paid for that.
Do you realize how much house cleaning we got to do?
A
I
ton.
know the wave's going to help, but good Lord, man.
Well, Gibbon will be overflowing.
We're going to have atomic powered brooms to get that mess out of there.
Okay. Oh my goodness. So we are in the event horizon, correct, Tanaath? That's exciting.
Mhm. We are on the curve. There's no going back. There's no jiggering the timeline. What'll happen will happen.
And it does not go on forever.
Oh, there is an end.
That's right. It comes to a finality.
As for timeline, I won't speak of when dates ever, but yeah, it's could be anywhere from tomorrow to a couple of years from now. Who knows?
But it's moving right along.
It is moving right along, and it does not depend on time. It depends on events. I've made this clear over and over again. It has nothing to do with the date on the calendar or how many hours, days, or months or years pass. It has all to do with events. And we are already starting to experience an acceleration, and I think even people who aren't aware are like, look at everybody commenting on how weird 2020 is. It's an acceleration. It's happening. There is no stopping this. If you know how an exponential curve maps out on a graph, you have a really, really long build-up time where nothing seems to change. By the time you cross the 0 point or the threshold of no return,
we're headed down onto the other side, right?
Yeah, it accelerates. Once it starts to accelerate, that's it. You're on the way to infinity. Have fun. Buckle up.
Yeah,
put some politicians on a Mobius strip and toss a couple of junkyard dogs in behind them and watch them scramble.
I got something I got to tell you about later, Drake. I call it the box. You'll like this.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, then you can tell me later.
Yep.
Well, think of it this way. Think about being given an opportunity to walk on a big rubber band, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think everything's cool, and you're docking down the rubber band, and you're going into the other side, wherever that goes. Now, that's kind of hid in sort of a mist or a fog. You can't really see the other side, but you're on your way. And then the guy said, and then you hear a guy laughing. I'm going to let go of the other end now. Oh, mercy, sweet.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, yeah. Twang.
Let me off.
Well, like the devil said, I keep killing him, you keep raising him from the dead. You ain't cheating fair. Uh-huh.
Oh, my goodness. So
Yeah.
that's and the beauty of it is, I like to think, is it's as it progresses, it's all going to get better for everybody.
Well, it's going to look pretty scary, but I want people to remember, have no fear. Do not panic. Do your best to take care of yourself and your loved ones. See it through to the end. Don't freak. Don't panic. Don't give in to the fear. That's the worst thing you can do in a quantum collapse, is give in to the fear.
And that includes them blue beam thingamabobs that they're going to try to shoot in your eyes and make you a believer.
Yeah, nope, don't buy it. Don't fall for it.
That's exciting, and that's important for people to know. And the fear is what's getting, causing all kinds of problems anyway.
Fear. False evidence appearing real.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The best thing to do too, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just to observe.
Yep. Find yourself keep yourself centered, keep yourself grounded, keep yourself in a neutral emotional standpoint, and just observe. Don't get hooked into it. Don't get dragged in. There's going to be all kinds of things trying to pull you in, using outrage, using fear, using anger, using all of those emotional hooks to drag you in. Do not fall for it. It will be okay.
Whoa.
That's important. You just froze there. There, you're back again. You froze for a minute there, Drake. Why don't now I'm froze? I don't know. Something's going on with the camera here. I don't know. But anyway, we can kind of wrap this up and have some last remarks. But I think it's your turn, Drake. say something that's will help people or and be a good
don't consider anything you do out of place in terms of giving somebody assistance. That may or may not be a hand up. It could be just simply being there with somebody. It could be simply saying, it's all right. Ain't nothing to be scared of. No, you're just because you don't have any family that comes around regular doesn't mean that you're alone. You got my crazy self as a neighbor. You can come over anytime. You know, there's a lot of, all kind of fun with it. If you can get a person to laugh, even though they're freaking out, you got it.
That's a good one, Drake. It really is. Yeah. There's nothing like laughter. Laughter is very healing too. And
ain't nothing bugs the non-existent entity, the devil. You can throw scalding. You can scald a dog with boiling water. You can do. Well, guess what? Laughing in its face really does it a number.
Alrighty then. Thank you for that, Drake. And now you, Tanaath, and then we'll wrap this up.
Well, like I just said, have no fear,
That's important.
Take care of yourself, your family from a position of love and a position of peace and serenity. Do your best to weather the storm. We all have to be the eye of the storm in this because it's going to be wild. It is going to be scary. It is going to be things we don't think we can deal with. And we need to endure. We need to survive. We need to be there to help all the others who are lost and adrift. Grab your surfboard because this wave is going to be insane. Yeah.
Alrighty then. That sounds like some excellent advice from both of you. And on that note, I think we can call it a show. And I want to thank you so much, both of you, for
thank you
sharing this.
Bye, y'all.
And thank you, Drake, for clarifying what you were talking about. And people are blowing it way out of proportion. So thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Gail of Gaia. I'm the founder and producer of Free Range. I do my best to bring you the best in guests and information that's very relevant to you today. I'm making this short little clip today in order to ask you to please contribute to the channel. I'm not monetized by YouTube. I don't sell any products, and I don't have Patreon. So I depend upon your contributions. And I know everyone's having a tough time, but even a small amount from a number of people would help tremendously. So thank you. Please contribute. And again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do need your help. Thank you.
This Free Range Productions program is presented for information purposes only. The opinions expressed may not necessarily reflect the opinions of the hosts, Free Range Productions, its principal supporters, or staff. Viewers are directed to use their own research and discernment with respect to any information presented here.